In a nutshell, how would you describe teen engagement?
Teen engagement is a way to get kids truly inspired with learning. The emphasis is engage, but if we were to take engage and really stretch it out, it's not to entertain kids, it's really to stimulate learning. And so what we've done, and we've done this for years, and it's very, very beneficial to both the teacher and the student, is that we take topics that are of high interest. And from those topics, we teach reading, writing, critical thinking, ethics, problem solving. We integrate mathematics into it. And what it does is it really simulates the types of decisions that kids are going to have to make once they're beyond high school. So situations that they may encounter in college, situations they may encounter in the workplace. We want to make sure that we can simulate those kinds of things so that when they step into that next phase of their life, they're going to be most effective with it.
I've heard you describe teen engagement as a solution. How is it a solution, and what all does that involve?
Well, first off, thank you for asking that question. And I do talk about solution. And the importance of a solution is this. There are dozens and dozens of scripted programs. I call them paint by number. Teachers got into the profession so they could teach. Teachers, and here's kind of an analogy. If you are an artist and somebody goes to you and says, we really respect you as an artist, but what we need you to do is paint by numbers. And so today you're going to paint number 1 and we want you to use blue. And tomorrow you're going to paint number 2 and we want you to use green. And every day we're going to script for you exactly what we want you to do. So instead of unfolding each student, we want you to try and mold them. And we wonder why we have morale problems. A solution respects teachers. A solution recognizes that teachers far and away have the most important impact on student achievement. It's not even close. And so what we do with a solution is we provide the absolute best content, units of study that explode knowledge and provide those teachers a great opportunity to be supported, to be part of a bigger community, to be able to get professional development. And so the decision is simply this in a solution. Is it best for kids? Is it good for teachers? And can we do it at an exceptional level? That's a solution. A solution is not, we're going to try and manufacture results. We're going to put kids on a manufacturing line. We're going to tell teachers which specific, are you going to use an Allen wrench or are you going to use a screwdriver? No. We're going to let teachers do what they do best, and we're going to support them and help develop them so they can do ultimately what's best for kids.
Okay, what are the biggest problems that you see in education, and how does teen engagement solve them?
How long do we have in this interview? But no, the biggest challenges in education are this. And I say we collectively, we've made the decision to invest astronomical amounts of money in scripted programs that cater to the lowest quartile of teachers. Yeah, the lowest quartile of teachers. So what's ultimately best for kids? Unequivocally is to have a good teacher in front of that student. So if a teacher brings their lunch pail to work every day, that teacher deserves to be respected. That teacher deserves to be heard. That teacher deserves to be acknowledged that they are somebody in a profession and that they are ultimately the people that have the most significant effect on education. So when I look at what the biggest problem is, we don't respect our teachers, and instead of letting our teachers develop and become good at their trade, we demotivate them by giving them scripted programs that ultimately take away their artistry from their trade. And so for me, if you've got kids that are engaged, you've got teachers that are enthusiastic, you're supporting those teachers, you're respecting those teachers, that ultimately takes care of a big part of the challenge that we face on a day-to-day basis.
What about kids who struggle with reading? Do you not think that they need a scripted program?
I think that there are certain students, and it's a very small percentage, maybe 5% of students or less than 5% of students, that need a very scripted manufactured program. But that ultimately is something that needs to be a stepping stone to a more comprehensive solution. We've got a lot of kids who are what I would call street smart and struggle with books. And we've got a lot of kids who are great with books but struggle with the street. And so what we try to do is bring those together. And so reading comprehension is massive, vocabulary development is massive. But for the adolescent learner, to put a large percentage of those kids, 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100% into scripted programs, that's tragic. That's, kids have the ability to learn, but we don't want to manufacture teachers and knock them over the head in terms of telling them what to do. Let's get kids enthusiastic about learning. If I don't like spinach, don't cram spinach down my throat 90 minutes a day, 3 times a week or 5 times a week, and expect me to enjoy spinach, okay? I'm gonna get it. We're not looking to drag kids over the finish line where they're absolutely done with school. They're sick of learning. They've got their high school degree somehow, some way, but then they don't have anything to bring to the table. We've got to get kids enthusiastic about learning. We've got to respect them for what they know, and we've got to take them out of their zip code. So scripted programs for the majority of kids, I think we devalue the teacher, we devalue the student, and we're not doing what's in the best interest of public education.
Why is preparing for college and career important, and how does Teen Engagement do that?
It's interesting with Common Core and so many other things that are out there right now. You hear this, getting kids college and career ready. That's something I've been passionate about forever. And I'll tell you why I'm passionate about it. My background, my professional background is recruiting, retaining, and developing people. So I've been on the hiring end, and as somebody who has a student who just graduated from college, one who's currently in college, and one who's going to be going to college in a year, I'm passionate about having kids who can come out of high school and who can be conscientious, capable contributors. And that's much more than just a high school degree. You have to understand how to deal with people socially. You have to have emotional competence. You have to be able to work in a group setting. You have to be able to think on your own. You have to be able to take hypothetical situations and come to a conclusion. You have to be able to comprehend. It's much more than scripting out. Life isn't scripted. Life isn't manufactured. Every day you get a knock on your door and you don't know what that day is going to bring. We've got to prepare kids to deal with that. And I think we're doing a tremendous disservice to students. I think we're doing a tremendous disservice to parents. I think we're doing a tremendous disservice to teachers if all we're trying to do is to barely get these kids across the finish line. They're capable of much more than we're providing them with. And unfortunately, we somehow have in our mind that they can only accomplish so much. If we're building for the future, and I'm talking on a grander scale, we want people who can vote. We want people who can critically assess the issues that are on the table. We want people who come from different backgrounds to be able to discuss things conscientiously and respectfully. We want people who have a tremendous work ethic. We want kids who are going to be honest. We want kids who want integrity. These are the types of things that are the cornerstones in society. And if we can't have them thinking about multiple things on a regular basis that ultimately are simulating what they're going to face, whether they decide to go into a trade, a vocation, a community college, a university setting, we're not doing our jobs. So is our job simply to have them pass a test? No. Is it simply to have them have a high school diploma? No. We've got a responsibility as educators to prepare them for the reality of what they're going to face. So college and career ready, you've got to be able to read, you've got to be able to comprehend, you've got to be able to think, you've got to be able to do math, and you've got to be able to do ethical problem solving. That's what education is about. That's what we've provided for over a decade. So when you talk about college and career ready, or you ask me the question about college and career ready, it's much bigger than simply getting a minimum score on a standardized test. It's being able to step out into the real world and to assume responsibility, where that person who's interviewing you for a job or that person who's evaluating you to go to school can look at you and say, you know what, this is the kind of person that I want to take a chance on. They've got the chemistry, they've got the makeup, they've got the character and the work ethic. I'm going to give this person an opportunity. And when they step into that, each student that comes out of a high school ought to be able to be successful in the next level that they so choose.